Aloha. Hey, everyone, and welcome back to Living Empowered, today's Reframing Your Mind's coaching series. For those of you who are new, I'm Susan Peters Chesley, your ASD master coach, growing in self-acceptance of my own ASD traits, just like you. In this series, we're exploring what cognitive distortions are, how they develop, and their impact on our daily lives. And we've reached the final episode of Reframing Your Mind. Yay! So today we're talking about reframing and self-compassion, which is the foundation of overcoming our cognitive distortions. So let's learn how to shift our mindset and treat ourselves with kindness. Now, reframing means challenging negative thought patterns and replacing them with balanced, realistic perspectives, also known as cognitive restructuring. So, when you said, "Oh, I failed again," or "I'll never be successful," this is what you're going to be restructuring your mindset to see things in a different way. So instead of thinking, "I failed, I'm terrible at this," you can reframe it as, "That didn't go as planned, but I'm learning and improving daily," which is something you have to really focus on and make yourself do, because it doesn't come naturally. So practice it every day using your cognitive thought sheet again, and you can find that sheet in the description of each of the videos here. So reframing strategies include several parts. You want to cognitively reframe, which is, reframe what we just talked about, reframing your thinking, how you're thinking. Self-compassion mantras, which we'll go over that. Celebrating the progress and challenging harsh self-judgment. And then finally, you can create a self-compassion routine. So let's start with the first one, cognitive reframing. You're going to give yourself a fresh perspective. When faced with a negative thought, you want to try looking at it from a different angle. Instead of, "I failed that test. Oh, I'm not that smart." Reframe it as, "I didn't do as well as I wanted this time, but I can study differently next time and find other ways to help me to retain the knowledge," right? So you want to have a neutral perspective instead of a self-blame and critical perspective. So your self-compassion mantra, this is basically speaking to yourself with kindness. Now, the American Psychological Association Dictionary of Psychology defines mantra in two different ways. It is a noun, right? It's active. You have to do something. And in Hinduism and Buddhism, it's a sacred utterance or sacred word, such as a syllable, a phrase, or a hymn that's often in Sanskrit. If you ever heard the tone Om, that's a sacred utterance that they use to bring about quiet, peace, and settling your mind. That's their mantra. That's one mantra. And then another definition for it is any verbal formula used for spiritual, religious, or meditative purposes to help block out extra thoughts and induce a state of relaxation that enables the individual to reach a deeper level of consciousness. It's also can be used in concentrative meditation or transcendental meditation. And you can compare this term mantra with another term, yantra. I'm not going to go over that today, but you can look that up, Yantra. So you want to learn to speak to yourself with kindness, just as you would a close friend, a family member, or a child. Okay, so if you make a mistake, instead of saying, I always mess up, again, try. Mistakes are part of learning, and I'm doing my best. You can use a phrase or a single word as a mantra. We also call these affirmations. So instead of, uh, saying a negative phrase, replace it with a more positive phrase, a realistic positive phrase that you can use to remind yourself when you catch yourself being in that negative self-blaming mode. And so next we want to celebrate progress. Small steps do matter. So if you struggle with time management and manage to plan one task successfully, you can recognize that as a win instead of saying, oh, I still didn't finish everything. Yeah, well, there's days where we don't finish everything. Does that make the whole day a total loss? No. Um, Celebrate where you can. Each day, find something about the day that you can celebrate every time. Here my nose itches. My allergies are just woo. But I'm going to celebrate the progress today, even though my nose is itching. I'm doing this video. So there you go. I can take that negative thought that just popped in my mind, right? And turn around and say, I'm going to celebrate it anyway. That's a live action uh, right there. The next thing you want to do is challenge harsh self-judgment. I kind of just did that too. But you want to practice more forgiving self-talk. So if you find yourself thinking, I should be better at this by now, oh boy, yeah, I've thought myself thinking that about this very thing that I'm doing now. Um, would I say this to someone else in my situation? Would I say this to someone who is really trying their best, doing everything that they know at that moment on how to do it? No, I wouldn't. I don't think you would either. But, if not, um, replace it with something more forgiving, like growth takes time. And I'm making progress. Forgive yourself for being human. Forgive yourself for forgetting or making mistakes or, maybe hurting someone else. Forgive yourself for that. Work through that and work to a place of self-forgiveness. So finally, we come to self-compassion. You want to create a self-compassion routine where you can practice it on a daily basis or however you often want to do it. At first, I really do suggest daily practice because it takes time to do this. So you want to create a self-compassion routine. You want to envelop this into your daily routine by practice writing down 3 things you did well at the end of the day. And I want you to start that today. If you find this video late in the evening and you're getting ready to go to bed or it's late, write down, if you can't think of 3 things, just start by writing down 1 thing. Start by starting, right? Okay. So this helps counterbalance the negative self-perception you have of yourself and situations, and it reinforces self-kindness. Self-compassion allows the space for grief and anger without letting them consume you. We talked about this before, and I'm going to repeat it again because we are not self-compassionate enough. The world is not self-compassionate enough. The world is not compassionate enough. So developing compassion along with self-compassion is an advocacy that you can do for yourself and the world, because it is a collective effort, not just something that you have to navigate alone. If you thought you had to navigate the world alone, you wouldn't be on this app right now, would you? So you are on this app and other apps that you go on looking for compassionate things, looking for reasons to be compassionate, looking for ways to raise you up, improve your mind, improve how you're feeling, maybe. Maybe you're having a bad day and self-compassion is just nowhere to be found. And so you're probably on these apps looking for some way to connect, all right? You're not alone in this. There's support if you reach out and ask the right people or ask those that you know are supportive of you. Treat yourself with the same kindness. You're worthy. Um, a self-compassionate perspective, again, as I mentioned, doesn't just sit in here with you. I practice Reiki. So I know that when I'm sending out Reiki healing, distance healing, I can feel my aura spreading, 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 and spreading. Your aura can spread for miles. Did you know that? Yeah. Your aura and the compassion that you're sending out can go worldwide. If you focus it, the compassion, onto a direct person, they are going to feel it. Believe me, they will feel it in some kind of way. Have you ever had that happen where you're thinking of a person? Um, you're really thinking of this person, and boom, they send you a text or they call you, right? This happens to me every single day. I am so connected with a person that we know when we're thinking of each other. And that's a practice. That's a practice of compassion. And it's also a practice of self-acceptance that you are a healer. You don't have to sit in pain. You can call in the healing from other people, from the world, from nature, from the cosmos, and from the very source itself, however you see that source. Draw it in, embrace it, and acknowledge that the pain that you're feeling is fear. Fear can overpower you and keep you from being self-compassionate. Fear embraces worthlessness, the feeling of not being enough. Um, you can go all around every internet platform and find people who don't feel enough. And maybe they're not talking about it openly, but you can hear it in the pain in their voice. You can see it in their when they're presenting to you. And I feel so much for these people because I understand. I think we all understand. And those of us on the spectrum are very empathetic. And a lot of times you have to really be careful with the empathy, because you'll draw all of it in and feel it personally as if you are experiencing it, instead of being objective about it and just feeling for this person and wishing them well. So be careful with that. And it also makes complete sense to me that when I feel overwhelmed and heartbroken and even helpless, that I could step out of that and have a neutral perspective to take me out of learned helplessness. And you can too. And so being in a situation like this, like I just described throughout this last period, is devastating. And your emotions are valid. But at the same time, you don't have to carry this burden alone. We have a hard time reaching out and connecting to people because we're so self-conscious of maybe we have deficits in communication. But we have to realize that there are others who care just as deeply as us and are working to find solutions. So connecting with them, you can work together and create a community like what we're trying to do or what we are doing. And give yourself permission to do what you can within community, while also giving yourself permission to rest and take care of your own well-being. You don't want to burn out doing all of this. It won't help you or the world or those that you love and take care of. But realize you deserve compassion too. So, by embracing and reframing self-compassion, we learn to create a mindset that supports growth and well-being. So I want to thank you so much for joining this series. I really appreciate each and every one of you that have clicked on it and liked and shared your experiences. I really appreciate that. And I hope it's been very helpful and will be helpful as you go over it again. Um, keep practicing these techniques, and remember that progress is more important than perfection. So if the series resonated with you, please feel free um, to drop a comment and share your thoughts. And I'll see you in uh, our next series or uh, the next time you show up. Aloha.